Coming up on Citrus TV News Live at 6, reporter Anna Azallion is live at the Remembrance Week event honoring the victims of Pan Am Flight 103 through art.
And an intense race in Georgia that continues to heat up. We'll tell you what each powerful supporter says about their candidate.
Plus, about 50 Google offices around the world walked out today. Find out why. Citrus TV News starts right now.
This is Citrus TV News Live at 6, your campus news leader.
Remembrance Week events continue at Syracuse University as community members look back on the bombing of Pan Am Flight 103 30 years ago. Good evening, I'm David Edelstein.
And I'm Gilat Melamed. A team of 5 cyclists arrived on campus this afternoon to finish a more than 3,000-mile journey in honor of the victims on Pan Am Flight 103. Cyclists started with a community bike ride in Scotland before heading to Washington, D.C. They then biked from D.C. to Syracuse.
The Cycle to Syracuse team is arriving in time to participate in the annual rose-laying ceremony tomorrow to honor the victims of the crash, including 35 SU students. Remembrance Week continues tonight with another event. Citrus TV's Anna Azallion is live in the Schine Student Center, where the event will take place.
That's right, guys. I'm here live in the Schine Student Center, which is usually full of students studying, and there are some students studying, but there's also people behind me preparing for tonight's open mic night. This is where students are going to take the stage behind me, performing poetry, songs, and everything in between. This is all part of Remembrance Week, which is an annual week to honor the 35 SU students who lost their lives in the bombing of Pan Am Flight 103. Now, they also honor the residents of Lockerbie, Scotland, who lost their lives in the terrorist attack, as well as the other people on board that plane. Now, this is the 30th anniversary of Remembrance Week, and I spoke to one of this year's Remembrance scholars who told me they're trying to plan as many events as possible to reflect on what happened 30 years ago.
I think because it's such a large milestone, 3 decades, there's been an increased focus on really seeing how can we reflect on not only the tragedy, but also the 30 years since. So we focused on how Lockerbie and Syracuse have really forged this bond. And I think we've also done a really good job of bringing out the entire community and celebrating the lives of all 270 victims.
And Remembrance Week is coming to a close with the last couple events happening tomorrow, the rose-laying ceremony and the convocation. For more information about these events, visit remembrance.syr.edu. Reporting live in Schine, I'm Anna Azallion, Citrus TV News.
Thanks, Anna. Citrus TV reporter Byron Tollefson spoke with Remembrance scholars about the lasting impact some of the students killed in the bombings continue to have on the SU community today.
30 years ago, Sandy Phillips was coming home from a semester in Europe. Sandy was a talented musician, a poet, and an athlete. He also wasn't afraid to be adventurous.
He motorcycled across the United States and Canada just on a whim.
But while on his flight home, tragedy occurred. The plane exploded from a terrorist bomb. Sandy and 34 other SU students were killed. 30 years later, near the anniversary of the tragedy, Cole Massey is representing Sandy as a Remembrance scholar. He's learned much from Sandy.
Be fearless and have fun. I think that's kind of the way that Sandy lived his life.
Each Remembrance scholar is paired with a victim. It's one of the highest honors an SU student can achieve. This is all part of SU's Remembrance Week, and Scotland's Secretary of State David Mundell was on hand today.
It's a very poignant moment, Remembrance Week. It's respecting those 35 students from this university who never got to complete their journey home. We remember them.
Remembrance Week is dedicated to the victims. The week has a vigil, a rose-laying ceremony, and students tied ribbons around the quad. Julia Traynor is representing Nicole Boulanger, and she says she relates to her.
So Nicole is someone who is described as being kind of shy and reserved, but once she got on stage, she really opened up, and I'm someone who also can be shy at times, and so when I started to learn about her, I really connected with that.
The week concludes this Friday outside of Hall of Languages with a rose-laying ceremony. Byron Tollefson, NCC News.
That was Byron Tollefson. Remembrance Week events conclude tomorrow with the annual rose-laying ceremony at the Place of Remembrance, located in front of the Hall of Languages.
You may have heard this morning when you were waking up. SU administrators conducted an orange alert test around 9:30 this morning. Administrators sent the alert to students and staff's email addresses and cell phones as well. University also tested the siren system on North and South Campus. So It's been really warm today. I was surprised to see just how much warmer it was after being cold a few days ago and some sun coming out through the clouds.
Yeah, I know. I was really surprised too, but you know, it is November 1st after all, so I'm thinking it might get a little colder. I don't know, but Citrus TV weather anchor Carmella Boykin's here to tell us.
Thanks, Gilat. Yeah, it definitely was warm today, but as we saw earlier, it was pretty rainy. But now if we take a look outside, we've got some light rain going on, which is pretty nice. If you're still headed out, though, you're definitely going to need an umbrella, but it's definitely not as intense as it was. Our temperatures are resting around 48 degrees, so like you guys said, it's definitely warmer. It's still chilly, but we've definitely had cooler temperatures in the past couple of weeks. And taking a look at our photo of the day, shout out to Jishnu Nair for sending this one in for us. It's a really great photo. If you take a look at the leaves in the center, you can see that's really the kind of the atmosphere we've got going on campus. In the back, we've got some ominous skies that we've been seeing as well with that overcast. And then in the corner, we've also got the Hall of Languages. So thank you again, Jishnu, for sending us in. If you want to send in a photo of the day and see it on Thursday weather, make sure you tweet at us at CitrusTV News. And taking a look at the weather for tonight, we've got some pretty consistent rain. Again, as we saw earlier today, that's going to continue in tonight. We're going to have a chance of thunderstorms around 4 a.m., but at least all this rain is going to be in Q's style because we're going to hit a low of 44 degrees. And as we take a look at our weather tomorrow, starting around 9 a.m., we're going to be at 50 degrees, warm up to 54 around noon, and then cool back down to 52 around 6 p.m. Like I said, it's going to be we're going to have some morning drizzle, and then it's going to be mostly overcast throughout the rest of the day. That's all I have for you guys right now, but make sure you stick around for my full 5-day weather forecast after the break. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Carmella. It's a problem suffered by more than 500,000 children in the U.S. It's highly preventable, but far too common. We're talking about lead poisoning. CitrusTV reporter Gabriella Knutson tells us just how much it's affecting Syracuse children.
Lead is a bluish-gray metal that comes right out of the earth, but if it gets into our bodies, it's poisonous. This is Delaware Academy, where about an estimated 20 to 30% of children have elevated blood lead levels. These are some parents' stories.
My oldest daughter had lead, and it affected her learning. It would have affected her learning if she didn't get it dealt with.
My daughter had it, but I think it wasn't like high.
Lead paint has been banned in the United States since 1978, but in Syracuse, 75% of houses were built before that time. If people don't move or get their houses remodeled, houses like this one might give their kids lead poisoning.
I had to move out of the place because it was more better, and never happened again. Thank God.
The Onondaga Health Department warns that even if you completely paint over every inch of your house, the underlying layer of lead paint can still put your children at risk.
Continued deterioration on high impact and friction surfaces like windows, doors, porches, and floors. That creates a very fine dust that then gets onto children's hands and easily ingested into their mouths.
During National Lead Poisoning Prevention Week, Deborah Lewis is urging parents to get their children regularly tested and says there are simple ways parents can protect them every day.
Take your shoes off at the door. Make sure children's hands and face are washed before they sleep and before they eat. Run the cold water for a few minutes. Feed your kids a healthy diet. Kids who have full bellies are less likely to absorb lead.
One Delaware Academy student says she's not allowed to touch paint because it can make her sick.
And my friend said, hey, check out, this is the lead, can't eat it. And I'll just say no, then drop it.
I'm Gabriella Knutson, Citrus TV News.
After 40 years, downtown Syracuse's only pharmacy is set to close. The Rite Aid located on South Salina Street will close on December 10th. However, the pharmacy section will close sooner on November 26th. The owner says they are transferring prescriptions to the pharmacy on West Onondaga Street, and the owner did not say why the store is closing. Drivers on the Onondaga Lake Parkway should be aware of the new speed limit. Starting tomorrow, the speed limit drops from 55 miles per hour to 45 in the area marked on this map. The Department of Transportation says the annual change is made in preparation for winter weather. The speed limit will go back up to 55 miles per hour starting April 1st.
And an armed fight broke out last night. The weapon, a screwdriver. Syracuse police say the assailant stabbed a 30-year-old man in the chest and armed with the screwdriver. Victim told the police he and the assailant had problems in the past. Police found the suspect and arrested and charged him with assault. First responders rushed the victim to the hospital, and police say he'll be okay. Investigators in New York City are now looking into the deaths of two Saudi sisters whose bodies were discovered in the Hudson River. The officials now believe that the women were alive when they entered the river, and the sisters' bodies were found duct taped together off the coast of Manhattan last week. The cause of death is still yet to be determined, and officials have made no arrests thus far. Things are starting to get a little hairy for the Central New York SPCA. 100 cats are now moving into the shelter because a local breeder got overwhelmed. The SPCA is taking all donations for dry food, litter, and money medications. Donations can be dropped off at a bin outside the shelter in Mattydale.
Coming up on Citrus TV News Live at 6, the alleged shooter in the Pittsburgh synagogue massacre faced court as the city remembers the lives of some of the victims.
And Google employers are still protesting how the company handled previous sexual assault allegations. Stay with us.
Leaving hot coals improperly extinguished can cause a wildfire.
Hey guys, it's Smokey!
It looks as if Smokey is going to use the drown, stir, drown, and feel technique. After the first drown, a good start. Next, another drink. And finally, a close feel.
Is it cool? Okay. Yeah. Hey, Smokey, catch! Oh, my bad, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
I see you mobbing over her. Let's go. Let's mob. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, we mobbing. Come on, girl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl.
If you see news happening on campus, in Syracuse, or across the nation, call the Citrus TV Newsroom, 315-443-1177, or tweet at CitrusTV News, your campus news leader.
The shooter in the Pittsburgh massacre pled not guilty today after a federal grand jury indicted him on 44 charges, 32 which carry the death penalty. 11 people died in the shooting on Saturday.
The city continues to remember the lives lost as funeral services continue today for 3 of the victims, Bernice and Sylvan Simon and Richard Gottfried. The Simons were married 62 years ago in the exact same building where the shooting occurred. Gottfried was a dentist for more than 30 years. He also volunteered at free clinics for those who could not afford dental care.
The synagogue's rabbi says he is moved by the support he's receiving from people he doesn't even know.
Complete strangers have been sending email. They want to come into town. They want to worship with us. It's just astounding. And it's uplifting, and it's very comforting. It shows that there is much good in America. Americans just don't see enough of that.
President Trump pinned to the top of his Twitter page a campaign advertisement that many are denouncing as xenophobic and race baiting.
The ad features an expletive-laden testimony from an illegal immigrant accused of murder. The ad then blames Democrats and accuses them of allowing violent immigrants into the country.
The ad is facing widespread backlash from several Democratic Party figures like DNC Chair Tom Perez, who is calling the ad a, quote, dog whistle of all dog whistles.
Controversy is arriving in the death of a son of a Ferguson protester. 24-year-old Dwayne Jones was found hanging from a tree in mid-October. Police believe his death was a suicide, but counteracting claims are spreading through the social media.
In a now deleted Facebook post, Jones's mother, Melissa McKinney, wrote, quote, "They linked my baby." The mother argues that her son was a target of her own activism and that Jones was not suicidal.
She also explained that the sheets used in the death did not belong to the family. Determination of the cause of death has not yet been made.
New details in the search for a new U.S. ambassador to the United Nations.
President Donald Trump said to his advisors that his top choice is current State Department spokeswoman Heather Nauert. Trump met with Nauert on Monday to presumably discuss the position.
Nauert is a former ABC News correspondent and Fox News host. The UN ambassador role has been empty since Nikki Haley left the position last month.
As Election Day gets closer, campaigning in Georgia has continued for both parties in the governor's race.
Vice President Mike Pence is in the Peach State showing support for conservative Brian Kemp and did not hold back criticism for the Democratic campaign, saying this isn't Hollywood.
Democrat Stacey Abrams' entourage includes Oprah Winfrey, who spoke today about the importance of voting.
For anybody here who has an ancestor who didn't have the right to vote, and you are choosing not to vote wherever you are in this state, in this country, you are dishonoring your family.
Throughout the world, Google employees are protesting the tech giant by walking out of their offices. The demonstrations are a response to how Google is handling sexual misconduct committed by top executives.
Last month, a New York Times article came out stating Google paid former executive Andy Rubin $90 million after Rubin left Google and sexual misconduct allegations. Locations of these protests include Zurich, Dublin, Singapore, London, and closer to home in New York City.
According to the employee group Google Walkout for Real Change, the walkout occurred at 47 offices worldwide. And new details on the Lion Air flight that crashed into the sea and left all 189 people on board dead. Indonesia's transport minister says search and rescue officials have discovered one of the flight's recorders.
This device is more commonly known as a black box and contains information about flight control and engine performance.
Investigators believe this is the breakthrough they need to determine the cause of the crash. Governor Cuomo warns Western New York citizens to be careful of flooding tomorrow. Weather anchor Carmella Boykin will tell you what counties are under a flood watch advisory and when the rain is expected to stop.
Plus a major bonus for Amazon employees. Find out what national trend the shipping giant is getting on board with.
Here we go. We're gonna go out there in the rain. You're gonna get wet. All right, here we go. Go, bro. Okay, quick.
Adventure can be found anywhere, but the best place to start is in the forest.
I spy something beginning with S.
Snow?
No.
Snow-covered trees.
Nothing to do with snow.
Head outside to discover incredible animals and beautiful plants that come together to create an unforgettable adventure.
Wow.
So grab your loved ones.
Don't even.
And explore a world of possibilities.
Come on, this way.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or park to you.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
From the CitrusTV Weather Center, this is SU's most accurate weather forecast.
Welcome back to Citrus TV News. As we take a look at our future radar, we can see as we go throughout the night, we're going to see some pretty decent precipitation. We've got rain, and then around 4 a.m., we're going to see some thunderstorms, which is what the red is, but that is not the case for Rochester. Western New York and the Finger Lakes region are under a flood watch. Heavy rain and precipitation, if we keep on scrolling, heavy rain and precipitation are going to be happening. Thunderstorms will be moving into tonight, and then Governor Cuomo issued a warning for the Finger Lakes region and Western New York, just in case if you're traveling to that region, make sure that you take precautions because there may be flash floods as there was rain today, and then we're about to see 1.5 to 2 inches of rain tonight. And as we take a look at our current temperatures across the state, thankfully we're not seeing frigid temperatures because we still have rain. So we're at 46 in Rochester, 48 in Syracuse, all the way up to 50 in Elmira, and then cooling down to 45 degrees in Cortland. And as you take a look at our weather tonight, we're going to have pretty consistent rain, basically what we saw today. But if you really enjoy sleeping in the rain, this is the perfect night for you around 4 a.m. Like I said, we're going to have some thunderstorms, and then we're going to be resting around 44 degrees. And as you take a look at tomorrow, we're going to reach a high of around 55 degrees. It's going to be overcast all day with the exception of a few drizzles in the morning. So tomorrow is really one of those days that you need to make your own sun. You know, it's November now, it's the Thanksgiving month, so maybe if you've been feeling homesick, call up your family, tell them that you love them, and really brighten your day because you're not going to get it from the weather. And as you take a look at our 5-day forecast, like I said, we have clouds on Friday. We've got some rain going on Saturday. And then Sunday, we're going to have a sunny Sunday, thank goodness, 45 degrees. We're going to have some clouds on Monday. And then Tuesday, we're going to warm up all the way to 59 degrees, which honestly feels like summer here. That's all I have for you guys right now, but back to you guys.
Thanks, Carmella. Amazon is shipping something brand new to its workers, and it's arriving today. Employees of the online shopping giant will now earn a new minimum wage of $15 an hour. Amazon's public policy team will reportedly also try getting the U.S. Congress to pass a minimum wage increase. All of Amazon's workers in the U.S. will receive the wage hike.
The University of Maryland has fired its football team's head coach one day after he was reinstated. Over the summer, a Maryland player collapsed and died while practicing under the watch of now former head coach DJ Durkin. Durkin was placed on administrative leave following the player's death, but the school's Board of Regents allowed him to return to work yesterday. The school will pay Durkin $5.5 million that he's owed in his contract.
Coming up on Citrus TV News Live at 6, Citrus TV sports anchor Brittany Ehrlich is live in Newhouse at the reception for the Glickman Award for Leadership in Sports Media.
Stay with us.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
This is the story of a boy who didn't talk for a long time. The boy liked things to always be the same. Any changes would scare and upset him. The unknown was an unfriendly place. The boy was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. He wasn't trying to be mean, it just made him feel uncomfortable. Sometimes he would flap his arms again and again.
One day I found out I have something called autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I found my voice and learned all the ways I could live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving. The ultimate party foul.
And now, your Citrus TV Sports Report.
The 2018 Glickman Award for Leadership in Sports Media is being awarded today to SU alum Ian Eagle. Citrus TV sports anchor Brittany Ehrlich is live outside the ceremony. Brittany?
That's right, guys. I'm at Newhouse, where things are just wrapping up with the reception, and soon they will all be out here eating some nice snacks. It was a great event. They had Mike Tirico talking. They had Ian's son, Noah Eagle, talking. And it was really just a great event. Lots of laughs, even some tears from Noah. And right before the event started, I got to talk to Ian about the award. And we're joined by Ian Eagle, the Glickman recipient. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, Brittany, thanks for having me.
So, Ian, obviously this is a big award, many past alumni. What does it mean to you to receive it?
This is the pinnacle. When you come to Syracuse University, the first person you hear about as a broadcast student is Marty Glickman. He was the godfather of all of this. So to be associated with him, to be associated with the previous winners, it's a bit surreal, to be honest.
Did any past recipients or alumni call you and give you any advice about tonight?
All of them called me, and I told them to stop calling me, lose my number. Like, I don't need to be bothered by Bob Costas and Mike Tirico and Sean McDonough and Marv Albert and Beth Mowens. Yeah, I spoke to a bunch of them. The advice is to live in the moment, enjoy it. It's an interesting concept because I think most of us get into this business with the idea you want to cover those that are making news. You don't necessarily want to be the one that's actually making news. So it's a little bit of a switch, but I'm ready for it.
Last night, Syracuse men's basketball beat Lemoyne 89-52 in its final exhibition game. The Orange had a slow start to the game as they trailed 9-2 in the first few minutes. But things picked up quickly for SU, outscoring the Dolphins 11-2 in the next 5 minutes. Redshirt junior Elijah Hughes led the Orange with 21 points and 5 rebounds. Hughes was followed by O'Shea Brissett with 14 and Tyus Battle and Buddy Boeheim with 13 points. Speaking of Syracuse basketball, they added another face to its 2019 class. Quincy Guerrero committed to play for the Orange. The 6'7" forward chose SU over Illinois and Oregon. The 4-star recruit made his announcement on the Montreal TV studio of RDS during the network's halftime show for the Knicks and Pacers game last night. Guerrero attends Thetford Academy in Quebec City. He also plays for the Brookwood Elite AAU team. It's a busy night in New York hockey as all 3 teams take the ice tonight. In the first game of the night, the Islanders face off against the Pittsburgh Penguins. At 7:30 p.m., the Sabres face off against the Ottawa Senators. Last season, the 2 teams were the bottom 2 in the Eastern Conference, but Buffalo looks to continue its good first month. And finally, on the West Coast, the Rangers take the ice against the Anaheim Ducks. New York tries to make it 2 in a row on the road after winning its first away game of the season on Tuesday. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Brittany. We'll be right back after the break with one last look at the weather with Carmella. Stay tuned.
Look at you. You're at the top of your game. You're unstoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Yeah, I saw that coming. That will throw you off track. You're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Let's try this again. Smart move. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes? B, console her?
Don't worry, sweetie. This is gonna happen a lot.
Or C, find her a new boyfriend?
Nice, single boys. That was weird.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Well, Thomas, you've got prediabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have prediabetes. Big time.
Back on Citrus TV News with weather anchor Carmella Boykin. Carmella, it's been warm out and rainy. Can that turn into any snow if it gets a little colder anytime soon?
Thank goodness, no. Looking at the week, we're definitely not going to see any snow coming up. But if we take a look at tomorrow morning, it's going to be around 50 degrees. We're going to have some drizzle in the morning, and then it's just going to be mostly overcast throughout the rest of the day. But if you're headed out in the morning for maybe a stroll or a jog, you can live life on the edge and not bring in an umbrella. I would advise you do, just in case. And then if you take a look at our 5-day forecast as well, you can see for the rest of the day, we're just going to have clouds on Friday. Saturday, we are going to have rain, though, and it's going to be 42, low of 35, so it's definitely going to be chilly. On Sunday, we're going to have a sunny Sunday. It's going to be partly cloudy. Make sure you get outside then. On Monday, we're going to have some clouds. And Tuesday, we're going to have PM showers, but it's going to be almost 60 degrees. It's going to be a high of 59. So we're definitely not going to see any snow. Thank goodness.
That's good to know. I'm not ready for the cold just
yet.
yet.
That's certainly what I like to hear. I don't want to see any snow, even though it is November. We could hold off till next semester, I think.
Absolutely.
Only November 1st.
Yeah, that's all the time we have tonight. For more news, go to our website, CitrusTV.com. Follow us on Twitter at CitrusTV News. I'm Gilat Melamed.
And I'm David Edelstein. Have a great night, Syracuse.